And the Masters of the Universe.
Hey guys, this is Kevin the Comic Doctor, and I'm coming to you today to talk about Masters of the Universe Revelation, the new He-Man series that dropped on Netflix last week. And I also want to talk to you a little bit about the comics, the Masters of the Universe comics that I see here at the Comic Doctor's office on a very regular basis. There's been quite a trend over the last, I'd say 8 to 9 months of people submitting these Masters of the Universe, He-Man associated comic books, a few in particular. I'm only going to talk about 4 actually today. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the show and tell you what I think about the show and possibly where I think it's going to be going in the future. And you know what? That's right. I'm a big He-Man fan myself. I was, I think, 11 years old when the Masters of the Universe first aired. And I was a fan. And I bought all the toys. Well, my parents bought me all the toys. And that was probably the last line of toys that I was interested in before, getting too old to buy toys. But anyways, let's get to it. Let's have a look at Go Collect right now. And let's take a look at the 4 comics I want to talk about today. Here we go. Okay, so first off, I want to talk about DC Comics Presents 47, featuring the first appearance of He-Man in a comic book form. And it was a DC comic book. And again, it was released, I believe, in 82. And there's a newsstand copy and a direct copy. And funny enough, in this case, it seems a newsstand copy isn't quite as valuable as the direct copy. So let's have a look right here. Recent sales of DC Comics Presents 47. There was, it's currently, fair market value at $21.50 US. The last concrete sale was, let's see here, $2,325. There was a best offer sale here, but I don't know about that one. But anyhow, so around $2,300 US. Now that book, you could have bought this book last year, same time, for around $900 US. So obviously there was a lot of anticipation about the Kevin Smith cartoon on Netflix, or animated series, sorry, on Netflix. Can't call it a cartoon anymore, can we? The animated series. And there's also been a lot of speculation and rumors about a potential live action film. So He-Man properties and Masters of the Universe properties have been trending upwards. Okay, now that is a direct edition. If I go back, I can select the newsstand edition. Okay, now if we look at the newsstand editions, fair market value is at $1,650 US, and a recent sale this month actually was for $1,500 US. And again, that's a graded 9.8 universal label. So that is the one book that most collectors are looking for. Okay, so following that DC Comics Presents 47, He-Man shows up in his own title, Masters of the Universe #1, about 4 or 5 months later in 82. And this is another book that I see here quite often. The current fair market value in a 9.8 is $425 US. We have recent sales of like $625, or $661, I think it is. Oh, $800 there, $730. So obviously lots of anticipation for the animated series. If you go right way back to, say, I don't know, 2000, let's go back as far as we can here to even just January of this year, you could have picked up that book for $325 US. For $325 US. Look at that. Even in February, there was a copy sold for $285, another one for $285, and the book steadily went up from there. So yeah, the book went up almost 2.5 times in less than in just about 6 or 7 months. So a really hot book as well. Again, this is Masters of the Universe #1 by DC. The first appearance of the Masters of the Universe in their own title. Okay, but you know what? That didn't last forever. Eventually, well, check this out. There it is. In 1986, He-Man and all of his friends jump ship and go to Marvel Comics. And here we have #1 of Masters of the Universe by Marvel. We see, let's have a look. The fair market value currently is $525 US. Last sale just this month was $629 US. We had a couple of back in May, you could have picked it up still for $3.95. It was kind of jumping up and down. Here's a copy for, is that $840? I think that's $840. Is that? Wow, $840 back in a Heritage Comics sale back in March. So the book was kind of, going over there, $369, $382. But if you go way, way back, let's have a look how much the book was last year. You could have picked up that book for actually, look at that, $199 at Christmas time, just after Christmas of last year. And the book now is selling for just under $650 US. So again, this is not the first tier appearance of He-Man in comics. This is again a rehashing by Marvel, but nonetheless still very popular, still very collectible. Let's have a look at one more comic right now. Now, before I talk about this one, if you haven't seen the He-Man animated series yet and you hope to do so, I'm going to talk spoilers. And in fact, I'm probably going to talk spoilers for the rest of this episode. So you might want to check out if you don't want me to spoil anything for you. Okay. Now, this book is very important, Masters of the Universe number 12, because it shows the death of He-Man. If you've watched the series, you know that in the very first episode, He-Man dies. Adam dies. So this comic is popular, I think, because of that. And in fact, I won't talk about any other. The next comic actually kind of is a second part to this, and it's pretty valuable as well. But nonetheless, number 12 is the main one. And let's have a look at some of the recent sales and the current fair market value. In a 9.8, it's at $525 US. Recent sales for $440. Wow, $810. That brought the value up. $450, $420. So I have a feeling there was rumors that there was leaks of the plot of this series, and I wonder if someone caught wind that Adam was going to die, and then they stood up and paid big for that issue. I don't know, but you could have bought that copy. Actually, look at that. You know what? The copy is kind of bouncing all over the place. In 2013, that comic book was $500. That could have actually went along with the other animated series that was going on Netflix way back when. But look at this, and then in 2017, the comic you could have bought it for as little as like $128 in 2017, but it steadily goes up after that, I believe. Let's have a look. See, yeah, $349, $500, $475, $311, kind of bouncing around a little bit, and now it's still bouncing around. And with all the attention that this show has gotten, especially in the last week or so, you can see that the books are still maintaining their value. And I'm going to say, if they end up doing a live action Masters of the Universe series, which I really think they're going to do within the next couple of years, these books are just going to continue to go up, especially that first one we talked about. Anyway. All right, let's talk a little bit about this TV series, Masters of the Universe Revelation. Now, keep in mind, it's not He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It's just Masters of the Universe Revelation. Well, that's because we don't see much of He-Man, do we? Like I said earlier, He-Man dies in the first episode, as does Skeletor, apparently. He-Man sprinkled in throughout, with flashbacks and what have you. But in reality, this is Teela's story. That's right, Teela's story. And this is what's gotten everybody up in arms. If you've been following some of the YouTube channels and entertainment channels, Kevin Smith's been under attack over the last week over this, which is kind of ridiculous. It is, when it all comes down to it, guys, it's a cartoon, right? Sorry, animated series, but that's all it is. We can, of course, talk about it and discuss it and see what we like and dislike about it. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So let's talk about what I did not like. And I agree with a lot of people. I did not like how He-Man was killed so quickly. And then the story became Teela's story. I also didn't like how this franchise went from being a male-centric franchise to a completely female-centric franchise. When you watch it, you're going to see the team that Teela puts together is basically Evil Lynn. I forget this new character's name. She's like a tech-savvy character, which is like Teela's like Robin, Batman and Robin. It's her Robin, basically. There's also been speculation that there's, that her and Teela are like romantically involved. I don't even want to get into that. That's another video for another time. But my big qualm is that, yes, it has become a female-centric show. And it's not a female-centric show. He-Man was a toy line for boys. The cartoon was for boys, and Mattel decides to let's branch it out for the girls. So they created She-Ra, and She-Ra was for the girls, right? So why does all of a sudden He-Man have to now become female centric? That was kind of irritating. I had no problem that Tila was in there, but then why wasn't Ram Man there? Why wasn't some of those other main, why wasn't Fisto there, leading the charge? Why couldn't you put a team together of some of those heroes that we grew up with, that we all had toys with, right? That was kind of frustrating to me. I didn't like that. I think her story is kind of neat, but it also could have been any of those character stories. It didn't have to be Tila's story. The idea that, she's angry that she didn't know the secret, Prince Adam's secret, and then she took off and becomes a mercenary or whatever, becomes a hero for hire, as it were. Okay. But again, when you put that team together, why is it so female heavy? That to me was a bad choice. That's kind of slapping the fans in the face. It again reminds me of I don't want to get into the whole Star Wars thing because that could be a very long conversation. But look at this picture. I'm going to put a picture up here. Check this out. Okay. What do you see? That's right. Fans in line waiting to see Star Wars in 1977. Let me ask you guys, how many young women or girls do you see in that lineup? Have a look. Yeah. Okay. Star Wars is a franchise that was directed towards boys and young men. Okay. So when we get Force Awakens and they all of a sudden make the main protagonist female, it didn't bug me, really. But what bothered me was that this character could have been a boy too, I suppose. But what bothered me is that we were force fed these 3 new characters, and we were expected to fall in love with them instantly, and kind of just turn our backs on Han, Luke, and Leia. That drove me nuts. With Force Awakens. It put our heroes in the back burner. We were forced to apparently like these new characters, and the one leading the charge was Rey, a girl. The Force is female, right? I guess, whatever. It was very disheartening. It was kind of a slap in the face, I think, to the core fans of that franchise. And kind of what happens here with Masters of the Universe Revelation, similar thing. We all signed up to see He-Man, all the advertising, all the marketing, Kevin Smith, talking about it on different shows, was that it was going to be the best. It was He-Man coming back, and I still think He-Man's going to come back. But these first 5 episodes or so were really kind of odd because of that, So that was my main problem. Now I watched the first 2 episodes and gave up, and then I heard some critiques of it, and people were saying it was actually not that bad. So I went back and I watched it. You know what? I liked it. It was actually pretty good, and I think I know where they're going with this, and that's fine. But let me tell you what I liked about it. The animation looked great. The animation was beautiful. Lots of fan service. Lots of a lot of the old characters are there. We see them. Some of them don't have a lot of screen time, but they are there. The look of Eternia is totally reminiscent of the cartoon we saw back in the early 80s. This is supposed to be a direct continuation of that. I found that episode 1 was very, even the way the writing of the script was actually very much like the He-Man that I knew as a kid. And then episode 2, when Tila kind of takes off her armor and says "screw you" and walks away, and her change, all of a sudden the script kind of became a little more mature, which is totally cool. I kind of appreciated that too. Now we're taking a more mature look, as mature as you can get, I suppose, at this animated series, which was great. So again, the animation was great. The fan service was great. The writing was pretty strong. Voice actors. I liked all the voice actors. I did not. And I love Mark Hamill. I do. I love Mark Hamill. I did not like him as Skeletor at all. He sounds, it's the Joker. And even when Hamill does this, he has that voice, and it's just so recognizable. It takes me out of the show. They should have had, I would have preferred the original guy coming back and playing Skeletor, to be honest with you. Kind of like how they kept, I don't know his name, the voice actor who played Optimus Prime. They brought him back, had an iconic sound, right? A voice. And I think Skeletor kind of had that too. And they could have brought back the guy who played He-Man as well. That would have been fine by me. that would have been all right. But yeah, Mark Hamill's voice, didn't dig it in this one. I'm sorry. And I also did not like Sarah Michelle Gellar as Tila. I just didn't seem to match for me. I don't know, especially the first couple of episodes. She seemed to get into it towards the end of that first, by episode 5. But the first few episodes, I was having a hard time with her as well too. She didn't match. I didn't think her voice matched the character we were getting. So I didn't care for that. And I think, what's his name showed up, who plays Merman. It was Kevin Conroy came and played a Merman. He it's Batman. It was a small enough part. It didn't really bother me. But Skeletor's a pretty significant part. Mark Hamill's voice kind of wore on me, to be honest. So that I didn't care for. But I do still love you, Mark Hamill. I loved how they went back when Prince Adam died. He goes to like this Valhalla, this heaven where all the champions of Eternia go. That was pretty cool. We get to see all the previous He-Men, all the previous champions of Eternia. That was kind of cool. And again, some fan service in there. Do you guys remember? I don't know if you guys were into the toys or not, but there's that Wonder Bread He-Man that was really hard to find. If you look him up on eBay, you'll see him. He's very expensive. It was like a brown-haired version of this guy. Instead of being blonde, it was brown-haired. He had brown trousers or brown trunks there, and he was very rare. He was in there. We never seen him before, but he was in there. And apparently there was like a Conan the Barbarian type He-Man, and that was a prototype of what He-Man was going to be like. He was in there too. So that was kind of neat. Again, paying homage to early iterations of the character, even before the cartoon, which I thought was pretty sick. So that was a lot of fun as well. It was decent. Again, other than that whole Tila focused story, I kind of liked it. And I'm going to tell you something else. I don't think people would have been so upset about that Tila centric storyline had they told us ahead of time that's what we were going to get. I heard another guy in a podcast just kind of say, taglines, our champion has fallen and his friends must, and we know going in that he's going to die. Don't hold that back. Let us know that early on he's going to die and that his friends are going to somehow restore order and the magic of Eternia. We didn't get that. I think they sold everybody kind of a false narrative, a false hope what the plot was going to be like, and because of that, you have that big backlash. I'm all for doing different things. And I don't want to judge it too harshly because I know there's a second part coming. And the second part I think is going to resolve a lot of these issues. Well, that's pretty much all I've got on this one, guys. It's a pretty good series. I think you're going to like it. Give it a watch if you haven't done so already. It's only 5 episodes. You get through it really, really quick, actually. You know what? I really want to hold off judgment until I see the final, part to this, because I think a lot more is going to be revealed. I think it's going to open up. The story's going to open up even more broader, and I don't want to say I hate it because I didn't hate it. I do kind of like it. So I'll give Kevin Smith the benefit of the doubt, and I'll see what he's going to throw our way in a few months' times. Have you seen the show already? If you have, let me know what you think of the cartoon. Animated series in the comment section below. And until next time, take care. Bye now.